Ladies, let me tell you something right now. There's a sentence, just one sentence, that when you say it, I don't care how tough he is, how smooth, how emotionally unavailable he thinks he is, that man will pause. That man will hear you. That man will feel something in his chest. Men crave respect more than love. This statement might sound surprising at first, especially in a world where love is often placed on a pedestal in relationships. But for most men, respect is the foundation upon which love is built. When a man feels respected, he feels acknowledged, empowered, and valued, not just for what he gives, but for who he is. Love without respect can feel hollow to a man, like admiration without belief, affection without trust. Respect hits deeper. It tells him that his decisions matter, that his effort is seen, and that his role in the relationship holds weight. From a young age, men are taught, directly or indirectly, to equate their worth with what they can do, how they can lead, and whether they can protect and provide. It becomes deeply wired into their identity. So, when the woman in their life shows respect, especially in moments of uncertainty or pressure, it lands with a powerful emotional impact. It reassures him that he is not being judged only by outcomes, but appreciated for his intentions and drive. This is different from compliments or flattery. It's about the everyday recognition of his presence, choices, and the quiet strength he tries to carry. Respect in a relationship isn't loud. It's not always grand gestures or big words. It's subtle. It's in the way a woman listens when he speaks, even when he's not saying much. It's in the way she supports his vision, even when the road is unclear. It's in the way she speaks about him in front of others, not putting him down or mocking him for laughs, but lifting him up in his absence. Men notice these things. It may not seem like they're tuned into the emotional wavelength at all times, but when respect is present or missing, it's felt deeply. When a man feels disrespected in a relationship, it doesn't just bruise his ego, it chips away at the safety he feels with his partner. He might withdraw, become defensive, or shut down emotionally, not because he doesn't care, but because he's feeling unworthy or unappreciated in the space that should be his emotional safe zone. On the flip side, when respect is consistently given, a man is more likely to open up, to soften, and to give more love in return. He'll work harder, love deeper, and commit stronger. Respect is the quiet motivator behind a man's best efforts. Love is often spoken. Respect is often shown. And when the two align, that's when a man truly feels at home with a woman. He may hear, "I love you," every day, but if he feels disrespected, those words lose their power. But when a woman respects him through her tone, actions, and trust, he internalizes it. It becomes part of how he sees himself in the relationship. He becomes better not because he's forced to, but because he wants to. "I trust you" is the ultimate phrase of validation. It's short, simple, and powerful. When a woman says this to a man, it goes far beyond a compliment or sweet talk. It touches a part of him that deeply desires to be seen as reliable, capable, and worthy. Trust to a man isn't just about believing he won't cheat or lie. It's about believing in his ability to lead, make decisions, protect, and provide emotionally and physically. Saying, "I trust you," tells him, "I see the man you are, and I believe in your intentions, even when things aren't perfect." It gives him the kind of confidence that no pep talk or praise from anyone else can match. Most men don't go around asking for validation. In fact, many are taught to act like they don't need it. But the truth is, they crave it just as much, especially from the woman they care about. Validation, when it comes in the form of trust, communicates that he doesn't have to constantly prove himself. It tells him that his character, judgment, and heart are already enough. That trust doesn't just lift his spirits. It builds his identity within the relationship. A trusted man walks different, talks different, thinks long-term because he knows he has someone beside him who sees his effort and stands behind his choices. Now, not all trust is created equal. There's surface-level trust, the kind that's polite and conditional. Then there's real trust, the kind that you feel when you say it and he feels when he hears it. Real trust is not just about allowing him to make choices without questioning everything. It's about emotionally leaning into his leadership. Even if you both don't have all the answers, it's looking him in the eye during moments of uncertainty and still saying, "I trust you," because you believe in the man, not just the plan. That kind of trust moves mountains inside a man. There's a softness that comes over a man when he hears those words from the right woman. It's as if the armor he's been wearing all day, the mental weight of expectations, responsibilities, and silent struggles suddenly drops to the ground. He doesn't have to pretend. He doesn't have to prove. He just has to be who he already is, and that's enough. In a world that constantly demands men to man up, to lead, to never show weakness, hearing, "I trust you," from the woman he loves is like a breath of fresh air in a desert. It gives him a safe place to land, a reason to keep going, and motivation to become the man he dreams of being. It's important to understand that trust doesn't mean blind agreement or passive silence. It means giving space for him to step up, knowing he's capable. It means allowing him to carry some of the emotional and life decisions without feeling like you have to control every move. That doesn't make you weak. It makes you wise because you're speaking a man's language in a way that creates connection instead of conflict. Trust makes a man feel seen, strong, and responsible. For many men, life is a constant performance. They're expected to be tough, provide solutions, stay calm under pressure, and never fold. Whether it's at work, in society, or even within their own families, the pressure to perform is always on. But beneath all of that weight is a deep, often unspoken desire to be seen for who they are and what they carry, not just for what they do, but for the effort behind it. When a woman offers trust, not forced, not blind, but real, grounded trust, it gives a man the feeling that he's finally being recognized, that someone sees past the mask, past the routine, and acknowledges the weight he shoulders daily. That kind of trust doesn't just make him feel good, it makes him feel seen. When a man feels seen, he naturally wants to rise higher, not out of fear, not because someone's nagging or controlling him, but because he wants to protect and preserve the space where he's honored. And trust creates that space. It's not about inflating his ego or letting things slide. It's about saying, "I see how hard you're trying, even when the results aren't perfect." That recognition activates something in him. He starts to carry himself differently, stand a little taller, and push through challenges with a deeper sense of purpose. It's not about power or dominance. It's about feeling worthy of the role he's been given. Trust also makes a man feel strong, and not just in the physical sense. Emotional strength matters to men more than they let on. When a woman expresses trust in a man, it's like giving him a vote of confidence in a world that constantly questions his decisions and intentions. In relationships, a man who feels trusted doesn't shy away from responsibility. He leans into it. He starts thinking about the future. He starts showing up more. He starts making decisions not just for himself, but for both of you, because he doesn't feel like he's carrying the weight alone. Trust becomes the fuel that drives him. He feels like a provider, not just with money, but with stability, energy, presence, and love. And with that strength comes a deepened sense of responsibility. The kind of man who feels trusted starts asking himself different questions. How can I lead better? What does she need from me? Am I making her proud? This isn't pressure. It's motivation. It's not about her controlling him. It's about him choosing to be accountable. Trust doesn't make him lazy. It sharpens his focus. He feels like a protector, not just physically, but emotionally. He becomes more aware of how his actions affect the relationship, more intentional about communication, more eager to solve problems instead of running from them. That sense of responsibility isn't forced. It's earned through the gift of trust. And when a man receives that kind of trust, he doesn't want to lose it because it gives him purpose beyond himself. Only give trust to a man who earns it through consistency. Trust isn't something that should be handed out just because a man says the right things or puts on a good show for a few weeks. Words are easy. Charm is easy. But consistency, that's the real proof. It's not about perfection. It's about pattern. You have to pay attention to what he keeps doing, not just what he does once. A man who is serious about you will be steady. He will follow through. He will make the effort even when it's inconvenient, even when no one is watching, even when you're not asking, because consistency reveals character, and character is what builds a foundation you can trust. Sometimes, especially when emotions are involved, it's tempting to give trust based on potential. You see a few good traits, he says all the right things, the chemistry is strong, and suddenly you're handing over emotional access to someone who hasn't proven he can handle it. But potential isn't the same as proof. Potential is what a man could be. Consistency is who he is. If you want a relationship that's solid and lasting, you have to separate effort from excitement. A man who shows up over and over in the small ways and the big ones is far more valuable than one who dazzles you today and disappears tomorrow. Consistency also means emotional steadiness. It's easy to impress someone once or twice. Anyone can buy flowers, send cute texts, or make a grand gesture. But what does he do when things get tough? How does he handle conflict? Does he take accountability or does he blame others? Does he keep his word or does he make excuses? Trust is built in those moments, the unglamorous, real-life ones. A man who earns trust is the one who doesn't just apologize, but also changes. The one who doesn't just say he'll do better, but proves it through behavior. He respects your time, your boundaries, and your emotions, not just when it's convenient for him, but consistently. Giving trust to the wrong man can cost you peace, time, and self-worth. That's why you have to watch, not just what he says in the beginning, but how he moves when the excitement wears off. Is he still calling when life gets busy? Is he still kind when you disagree? Does he show up for the little things without being asked? That's how you know if he's trustworthy. Because a man who is consistent isn't just trying to impress you. He's trying to build something real. And when a man is building something real, his actions reflect long-term thinking. He's not chasing moments, he's investing in a future. Consistency also gives you clarity. You won't have to keep guessing how he feels. You won't be stuck overanalyzing texts or wondering where you stand. A consistent man makes it known through his energy, attention, and behavior. He doesn't leave you in confusion because he's not trying to create chaos. He's trying to create comfort, trust, and stability. Respect fuels a man's desire to protect and provide. This goes far beyond traditional gender roles or outdated expectations. It taps into something deeply emotional and psychological in a man's identity. When a man feels respected by the woman he loves, it activates his sense of purpose. He wants to do more, give more, be more, not because he's forced or guilted into it, but because it genuinely fulfills him to show up for someone who sees and values him. Respect doesn't just make a man feel good, it gives him direction. It tells him that his presence, his decisions, and his leadership are welcome. It tells him that he's not just tolerated, he's trusted and admired. Every man has a natural instinct to protect and provide, but not all men are tapped into it. Some have been shut down by past experiences, criticism, or relationships where they were made to feel like nothing they did was ever enough. Respect reawakens that instinct. It tells a man, you are enough, I see you. I believe in your ability to lead. That message lands deep, often deeper than love alone. Love without respect can feel shallow. But respect, that's what gives love its weight. It gives a man something to live up to. It holds him accountable in the best way, not through fear, but through admiration. When a man knows his woman respects him, it makes him want to do everything in his power to keep that respect alive. Respect isn't just about words. It's about how you speak to him, how you challenge him, how you support him. It's in the tone you use, the way you respond when he shares ideas, the way you treat him when you're upset. It's in what you say about him to others and how you react when he tries. Even if he's still growing, still learning, still figuring things out, respect recognizes the effort. A man doesn't need you to pretend he's perfect. He needs you to acknowledge his progress, to believe in his potential, and to affirm the man he's working to become. That encouragement is powerful. It energizes him to keep pushing, to keep protecting, to keep showing up. When a man feels disrespected, everything starts to shut down. His desire to protect fades, his drive to provide weakens. He becomes distant, defensive, or cold, not because he stopped caring, but because something important was taken from him. A man will walk through fire for a woman who respects him. But if he feels criticized, dismissed, or belittled on a regular basis, that fire goes out. He may stay physically, but emotionally he starts to retreat. On the other hand, when respect is present, it feeds his inner protector. It makes him proud to be the man you lean on. It brings out his leadership. He feels like a king in his own house, and not because he demands it, but because it's freely given through honor, gratitude, and trust. When a man feels trusted, he sees you as his peace and purpose. This is one of the most profound emotional connections a man can experience in a relationship. Trust is not just about believing in his actions or decisions. It's about creating a safe space where he can fully be himself without fear of judgment, doubt, or rejection. When a woman places genuine trust in a man, it signals that she values him beyond surface level traits. She values his character, his intentions, and his heart. This kind of trust becomes a sanctuary for him, a refuge from the pressures and uncertainties of the outside world. In that space of trust, a man finds peace. Peace means he doesn't have to constantly prove himself or wear a mask of toughness. He can drop the armor he's carried for so long and just be vulnerable. This is no small thing because many men grow up with the expectation that they must always be strong, stoic, and in control. When you trust him, you allow him to relax into the relationship and feel accepted for who he truly is. That peace reduces his anxiety and helps him open up emotionally, which deepens the connection between you. He stops being defensive or guarded because he knows he won't be met with skepticism or criticism. Instead, he's met with faith and belief, and that fuels his desire to be present and engaged. Trust also gives a man purpose in the relationship. It tells him that he matters not just as a provider or protector, but as a partner whose presence is vital and irreplaceable. When he feels trusted, he understands that his efforts have meaning and that his role goes beyond just fulfilling duties. He starts to see himself as someone who contributes to a shared future, someone whose growth and happiness are intertwined with yours. That sense of purpose motivates him to be better, not because he's trying to earn your love, but because he genuinely wants to be the man worthy of the trust you've placed in him. Moreover, when trust is present, it builds a foundation of mutual respect and cooperation. A man who trusts his partner will communicate more openly, make decisions with her input, and show greater empathy toward her needs and feelings. The relationship transforms from a transactional or surface-level connection into a deep partnership where both people feel safe, supported, and valued. This mutual trust fosters emotional intimacy, which is essential for long-term satisfaction and happiness. It's important to remember that trust is fragile and must be nurtured consistently. A single breach of trust can shake that sense of peace and purpose, which is why honesty, transparency, and accountability are critical. But when a man feels that trust is strong and unwavering, it empowers him to take risks, show vulnerability, and fully commit. He no longer sees the relationship as a source of stress or conflict, but as a sanctuary where he can grow, love, and find true fulfillment. In essence, trust transforms the dynamic between two people. It turns attraction and affection into something deeper, something that anchors a man emotionally and spiritually to the woman who believes in him. When you say, "I trust you," with sincerity, you're offering more than just words. You're giving him a reason to build a life with you, a reason to protect your heart as fiercely as he protects his own. That's why trust is one of the most irresistible and powerful things you can offer in a relationship. It creates a bond that few men can resist because it speaks directly to their core desire for connection, respect, and belonging.